Welcome to the Digital Amateur Television Experimenters Night. This is VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. Amateur radio is a worldwide hobby that has many different aspects. Digital television is just one of the many modes and areas that are covered. Maybe you're interested in becoming involved in the DATV Experimenters Nights. You realise that you do not have to be a radio amateur or need any ATV equipment to participate anywhere in the world. Also participate in the night by coming up to the Queen's Domain club rooms. Yes, right on top of the Queen's Domain in the heritage-listed Coast Wireless Station. You never know, we might get you in front of the camera or behind doing one of the many roles during the night. We get underway with our program on a Wednesday night from 7:30pm local time. We'll see you soon. This is VK7 OTC.
Okay, this is VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania, with our DATV Experimenters Night for the 29th of July. We're nearly at the end of July already. So tonight we've got a bit of an experiment to do tonight. The first segment we're going to try a little bit of an outside broadcast to give people a bit of a view of the renovated club rooms next door. So we'll head to that in a short while. Then lots of amateurs out there, I suspect, are aware and would have got the email update from the ACMA this morning. So we've got a few things to go through that have changed, call sign changes, rules for EME, also syllabus review, panels and all sorts of things. So we'll go through what came out of there. We'll also, we featured last week the Western Standard Cell, and last weekend we've Alan VK7 KAJ has been doing some reasonably precise measurements of the voltage output on the cell. So we'll get Alan in and take us through the Western Standard Cell, and we also have a bit of a promo for our presentation night next week. So bear with me. I'm going to go to our outside broadcast, which is in the next room. We'll see how we go with our outside broadcast. We can go to our outside broadcast. So we'll head into the club rooms and we'll show you the new club rooms.
He lives in Lauderdale. 4 radio stations.
I'll just turn it down.
Everyone in Audio is very close to the
It's going to, so here we are in the clubrooms, in the renovated clubrooms. And we'll just give you a bit of a show and tell. Hello from Warren there. And we've got David and Alan. Alan we'll see in a short while in relation to the western cell there.
And we do have call signs too.
Yes. VK7 Whiskey November here and VK7 KHR. You'll notice our bright new AV equipment. We have a wonderful projector from Richard and Murray there, which we used on Paul. Okay. Murray and Richard actually put it up. It was used on Saturday, the assessment day. It worked wonderfully. So we've got a big screen there. So we'll head round. It's really deceptive, that delay, for about a second. And we've got Larry there, VK7WLH, and Murray, VK7ZMS. And Richard, VK7, yeah, we can't really see Richard very well, but VK7ZBX. We've got Steve there in deep conversation. He's grappling with the rather large bit of coax. And John as well.
A large piece of coax.
No, that's what Steve's got. So and our wonderful new kitchen area, which is all very nicely painted up. We'll zoom around here. We've still got the honour roll from the WIA, which shows our history back to 1925. And I suppose the big thing about the club rooms is the lack of things on the wall, lack of crap on the wall, which
the
you
nice
can see.
reflective surface.
Well, surely.
Comes under threat of death.
So we need a placement, things being placed on the wall policy or something.
A big sign. Do not place things on this wall.
Yeah, a big sign.
Just paint it on the wall.
So yes. And of course our through to our toilet and bathroom facilities, which are all absolutely spick and span. So I thought I'd just give you a bit of a quick bit. And we're doing an outside broadcast, so there you go.
Outside broadcast.
So thank you to everyone for participating. It's an ad hoc sort of way.
Isn't he taking the camera into the bathroom?
Yeah, it's a family show. You can do it, yeah.
You can if you like.
Cable's not long enough. We can use it.
It's wireless. Oh damn, I just dropped the camera. So anyhow, I'm wondering, would it...
So okay, that was our outside broadcast. And just to show off the club rooms, looking very nice and spick and span. In fact, you can still smell the paint. So what we might do is we'll just remind people. I mentioned there we did have an assessment session, our first one after COVID, so post-COVID assessment session. We had 3 foundation licensees and 1 standard license assessment. So we're looking forward to the results coming in for those particular assessments. So looking forward to some good news, and 3 more foundation licensees and a foundation licensee who's upgrading to standard. We've got Ian VK7ZD on the stream. So welcome, Ian. So I just want to remind people, our next week we have it's the first Wednesday of the month, so our club has a presentation / events night, and that night is going to be an antenna and antenna analyzer forum. So the call's gone out to club members to bring along a picture of, if you can't actually bring along the actual item, but their experiences with antennas that they are using, that they have bought, they have built, but the key thing is they're using and building and testing these antennas, as well as if you have a antenna analyzer that you're actually using with these antennas, bring it along to show the members during the forum. And we're getting people to talk about their antenna, talk about their analyzer, and their experience with the antenna, how good they think it is, the pluses, the minuses, the challenges with the antenna. You don't have to do a huge in-depth presentation on your antenna, certainly not. You just need to come along with your experience of the antenna. But if you've got some analysis you've done on the antenna, radiation patterns or something like that, then by all means bring them along. They can be permanent, they can be mobile, satellite, microwave, low frequency, medium, high, portable, handheld, whatever in the way of antennas. Just bring them along. In fact, anything and everything is encouraged. They can be radio control antennas, and the call goes out to Ron there, because I know Ron's done a lot in the 5 gig cloverleaf type antennas. Anything and everything, just bring it along, and you'll be given a little bit of time to explain your experience. So. And what we'll do is compile a little bit of a list, a little matrix of who and what antenna, so people in the club can then, if they're interested in that particular antenna, go and find the person who talked about it in the forum, and then they can have a bit of a chat with them. So that's our meeting next week. It will be recorded and will be streamed. So on the streaming channel you're looking at now. And also go out on RF, so that'll be happening next week. So what I might do is I'll put out the call to Alan, VK7KAJ. If VK7KAJ can make his way into the studio, that would be wonderful with his wonderful pieces of equipment. So Alan, come on down. If he doesn't come in a moment, I'll go and get him. But last week we had, and I can go to, just let me go to. Last week I showed you a bit of a find at the Resource Tip Shop, and the Resource Tip Shop. In its collectibles area, have a whole lot of things, bits and pieces, and I managed to find this box, which is the Western Standard Cell, and I thought, oh wow, okay, this is pretty impressive, especially come in, Alan. This is pretty impressive. If I thought, oh, it's only the box. Yeah, close that door. Thank you.
It's very noisy out there.
It is. And I've turned down our outside broadcast audio feed. But this is a pretty impressive box. I wonder if the cell's actually in the box. And surprise, surprise, the cell was in the box. And looked to be in reasonable condition, and I did wonder whether I raced out to the car and got a multimeter and came back in and actually measured the voltage, and I thought, oh no, but I'm still pretty impressed, and I convinced myself to purchase it. For those who don't know, the Western Cell is a wet chemical cell, and what we mean by that is we actually have a little picture here that I grabbed from the interwebs. This shows that it is what they call a mercury standard cell. It has mercury on one side and a cadmium amalgam on the other side. There is mercurious sulfate sitting above the mercury, and there's cadmium sulfate sitting above the cadmium. And then the electrolyte is a cadmium sulfate solution, so that's in effect what that's the diagram of the cell. Now the big advantage with this cell is that that's what it looks like in real life. this is actually considered to be, this model is the mini version. This is the mini version, whereas the standard cell that I've seen is about the size of a Coke can. It's about with about that sort of, and it's cylindrical, and it has two connectors on the two banana plugs on the top. To give you a bit of background on the actual Weston, so Edward Weston invented this in 1893. It was adopted as the international standard for EMF from 1911 until it was superseded by the Josephson voltage standard in 1990. So from 1911 to 1990, it was considered to be the voltage standard in all of those, NATO accredited test labs and all of that sort of stuff, and various test labs. So that's a little bit. And Weston, actually, Edward Weston is an interesting guy to look up because he was an engineer, and I think from memory, I'm working from memory, somewhere between 200 or 300 patents that he actually had taken out at the time. So I'll just come back to here, and we'll whiz over to welcome Alan, VK7 KAJ. Welcome, Alan.
Thank you, Justin.
How you going?
I'm well,
Excellent.
which is good at this time of the year,
Well and truly.
or this time of history.
This time of a pandemic, yeah. Now, the reason Alan's here is Alan has some very nice pieces of test equipment. And so last week I gave him the cell and said, please, sir, I want more. No, that's all right. please, sir, I would love you to measure the voltage of this cell for me, because all of my multimeters stop at like 4 digits, or 4.5 digits, and I knew that Alan actually had a couple of devices that have an awful lot more digits, or have the ability to have an awful lot more digits.
How many digits did you just say?
4.5, I think.
Yeah, this one's also 4.5.
Oh, okay. Now, what are we looking at here?
This is a Keysight. What's the number? 1241.
41.
Yeah,
C?
1241C, 4.5 digit multimeter, which is
Let's go here.
all I could afford at the time.
Yeah, okay.
I treated myself. I wanted something with a reasonable brand name on it.
Definitely. Now, Keysight is Agilent.
Is Agilent, which was HP.
Yeah.
So
okay.
it went HP, Agilent, and then Keysight.
Okay.
Should have stayed as HP, but the computing side took that on.
Well and truly.
Yeah.
So this is the device we're looking at.
Yep.
It is a true RMS multimeter, is what it actually says.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you could have left it over there.
Oh, when
no.
we actually
Yeah, actually, if I give
plug
you
that end in.
that end in, there's a reason for all this.
Cool.
And then if I
We've got long enough.
and if I connect this like so,
Now Alan's connecting it to the battery.
and
Oh,
strangely
hang
nothing's
on.
happening.
Do we?
What did I do wrong?
What did I do wrong? We've got voltage in
Yeah.
common. We've
Yeah.
got it on volts.
Yeah.
Do we have to do something here?
No. That's odd. What have I done? This is live TV.
Oh, this is live TV. Well and truly. I'll just start dancing.
Think of something else for a second.
Yeah, that's all right. So just to recap, what is inside that little tube, that little Bakelite tube, just here.
Can I have it back again?
Oh yeah, yeah. How's that?
There's something wrong with my leads, I think. No. Now, I did something silly before I came away, and
Need to reboot it?
I reset this thing to high impedance. It has two. What? But it measures for me. What's going on?
Okay, that's all right.
Okay.
Keep thinking. So in this little Bakelite tube, and I will take the bottom off this Bakelite tube at some sort very, very carefully, and yes, yeah, down here, yeah, down here, down here. Just bear with us. We're just going to plug in the device, and done. Okay. There we go. So the other device that Alan has, which I'll get him to. Let's just go here.
I don't know how you're going to get this on camera.
Just need to hold it up.
Oh, hang on. Just wanted to get a few things out.
So this device, which even has a fan in it,
Oh, yeah.
Is a Agilent, so Agilent, sorry, 34410A, which is a 6.5 digit multimeter.
Yep.
So very nice.
Now, this one is actually out of calibration, but given that I rarely bother about the digits past 4, I don't worry about it too much.
And what are we wanting it for? The digits past 4.
Yes.
So the one thing I didn't mention here is the Western Standard cell gives us 1.01859 volts at 20 degrees C when it was new. So you would not expect that. And given this was actually made in 1954. I can give you the exact date. It is the 17th of May 1954, and there is a signed calibration slip in the box for this particular cell, and it has obviously also has a serial number associated with it as well.
Interesting thing here.
There isn't anything?
Is it something? Oh, yeah. It's well down volts.
Okay.
What's happening? Is it failed in transport? Have I killed it?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I definitely did measurements on it last week.
Oh no, well and truly, and in fact, we can actually show those measurements because I summarise them here while you're doing that. So on the original the multimeter type of device that he had, it actually also tells you that particular device tells you the temperature, and within calibration, that device is within calibration at the moment. It measured 1.0172 volts, which is a little bit lower than the original voltage, which is what you'd expect. The 34410, which is out of calibration, has two inputs, which is or two abilities to set it up with different inputs, which is the high impedance at 1.18849, or the next measurement was 1.018635, and then with the 10 megohm input. So one of the key things with the cell that it actually talks about here is, being a reference cell, you cannot draw any current from it. and it actually says maximum current of 10 microamps for short periods. So you can't just put a 20,000 ohm per volt multimeter on the cell and expect to be measuring it. But so the 10 megohm input measured 1.016898. Now this is getting a little bit more like what you'd expect it to be down to. That's correct.
Yeah, I've got a flattish double A,
1.2.
1.2492.
Yes. Okay.
I've killed it for you.
Oh,
You give it to me for a week and I've killed it.
there's nothing.
There's nothing. Just noise.
Yeah, well and truly.
That's been sitting vertically behind my TV
Oh, that's the
in the
problem.
living room.
It's
for a week.
sitting vertically, which is, it says it needs to sit vertically.
Yes, mount vertically.
Anyway, that's all right. That's fine.
Ah.
We did get some measurements, and I've recorded them here. So we did get some measurements, and you'll notice up the top the advertised drift was around 0.004% of the rated voltage per year. So you can start to see the stability of these sort of cells. Huge stability, and also obviously you have to take into account the temperature side of this. There's a little chart that's supplied in here as well, which shows at 20 degrees you're looking at 1.01859, and then going in each direction it goes up when it goes down in temperature, and goes down when it goes up in temperature. So the inverse of it. And the EMF of this cell has been measured and found to be within plus or minus 0.01% of the absolute at 20 degrees when the cell was brand spanking new. So and there's the serial number, and tested by that particular person and signed by them in 1954. So there you go. Fascinating little, and I mentioned that one of the reasons why I knew about these was I remember seeing these cells in the test lab of the Electricity Trust of South Australia, which was they had a hole in the floor about, I don't know, it seemed like it was very, very deep at the time, but it would have been 2 or 3 metres deep, and there was a tube that the cells were dropped into, well, not dropped into, lowered into at the bottom, to keep the temperature stable.
Okay.
That was the reason they did that, and there were some pretty decent leads that came all the way out to the test bench. So
you can see that leads have been soldered on.
yeah,
I assume they've been soldered.
yeah. And I don't know what it was used for, so I just
I find it interesting also that it's got mounting holes for mounting
yeah.
on the top and on the bottom.
So there's a mounting hole here and a mounting hole here. So
And there's 2 on the bottom as well if you want to sit them on it.
Oh yeah.
They're tapped.
It's so, but anyway, absolutely fascinating, and I just found it just one of those things that you find, and it was irresistible given its history and the things I knew about it. So anyway, thank you, Alan.
I'll just go back a little bit to something that's now totally irrelevant, but the 2 multimeters, they're, like most multimeters, they're normally 10 megohm input.
Yeah. Yep.
The little portable Keysight one, in its high impedance mode for the lower voltages, is 1 teraohm.
Okay.
No, 1 gigohm.
1 giga.
1 gigohm.
Okay.
Yeah, 10 megohms, and then you can set it to high impedance to
So 10 to the 12.
it becomes 1 gigohm. Yeah.
Okay.
However, the Agilent 3410 is also 10 megohm, but in high impedance mode it is 10 gigohm.
Ooh, okay.
And basically that means it takes 3/5 of not much current
To get it to actually
to
measure.
read.
Yeah, okay.
And it's all menu driven, it's hidden in the menu somewhere to
Right.
change it. And sampling, I think it's on 100 samplers at present. This is all irrelevant now, but it doesn't make the work.
That's
And
fine.
to get the ultimate sort of digits, I should get it calibrated, but yeah, it's a little hard at present.
No, that's
I
fine.
can't drive across to Victoria with it,
No.
which is basically where it was to go to.
Yeah. Okay.
And they're not cheap. We used to get them calibrated when I worked at the Antarctic Division. We had Semi, and we got some of them calibrated, and it cost a lot. And then, in the end, I think we had 4 or 5 multimeters, and we worked out it was better to possibly sell one every year on the used market and buy a new one, which would be in calibration. And we could use that if we needed calibration, and just use the others as general instruments.
Okay.
And then dispose of one of the old ones and get a new one.
Yeah,
when
okay.
we needed calibration.
And you were still ahead of the
Well,
dollars.
No, we weren't anywhere near ahead of the dollars. These things are not cheap.
Yeah. Okay.
I won't say how I got it. I know its history.
And the
It's very
calibration costs are significant.
Yeah, in the hundreds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The price of a normal multimeter.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
And you don't happen to know what they use to calibrate it? It's not a standard cell.
I
or-
have got no idea.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Some things we got calibrated at the makers,
Yeah.
and some things we got calibrated at the local radio telescope,
Okay.
or CSIRO,
Yeah. Okay.
depending on what we wanted. Temperature, I think, was at CSIRO, frequency was at the radio telescope,
Yep.
and Agilent equipment, of which we had a lot of HP and Agilent stuff,
Yep.
generally was Agilent.
Yeah. Okay. And the telescope would have been because they have the hydrogen laser aberration. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But that was 10 years, more than 10 years ago now.
Okay. Okay.
So, yeah.
No, no.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
No. That's all right.
We did get numbers out of it.
Well, we certainly got numbers out of it because, as you can see there on the screen, that was what you sent through,
Yeah.
along with the screen grabs of the measurement.
Yeah.
so
On my
yeah.
dining room table.
So we
The
certainly
XYL was out at the time.
we certainly saw it work for a little while. That's all right.
I'd like to know what happened.
Well, I did say I was going to very carefully open it up and actually see. And the thing about it is I know nothing about its history, and I know nothing about its I know nothing about its history, and I know nothing about how it's been handled in the in between. And given it's we're talking about it from the resource tip shop, I suspect it.
But it was working last week.
So
When did I do that? On
oh no, that
last
was
Thursday. I
that
think.
was the day after last Wednesday.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it
last
would have been
Thursday.
Thursday. So
I haven't touched it since.
no, that's there's the brakes, and we're talking about something that's over 60 years old.
Oh, careful. There's more than one thing in here over 60. There's a battery and one other thing. It's almost as old as I am.
Oh, very good. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Alan.
I'm going to bend my head in shame.
No, that's all right. I'll bring it out and we can take the bottom off it and see whether we can see what the problem is. So, thank you, Alan. Cool. So now what I wanted to go on to is lots of people today would have received their ACMA amateur radio update, which for those people, the WIA has been doing a lot of promotion of the fact that the ACMA has a mailing list that you can subscribe to, and it has a range of. I'll just make the focus a little bit better there, if I can. Maybe not. No. Anyway, so the ACMA update came out today, this afternoon, 4:11. And there were some significant things announced in that update. The very first one is around the change to the call sign policy. So the digital modes for foundation licensees changed a little while ago. So foundation licensees can use digital modes, but one of the things that they highlighted was the fact that the foundation call sign structure is not compatible with all digital modes. So what they have done to correct that is what did I do just then? Okay. What they have done to correct that is they have changed the call sign policy. Now, the interesting thing they talk about here is because the call sign structure is not a concern of the ACMA's regulatory function, we believe that this administrative policy should be guided by the consensus view within the amateur radio community. So they took submissions from a range of people and organisations, and what they have come up with is the fact that now foundation licensees can have a 3-letter call sign, so allowing all amateurs to obtain a 3-letter call sign. So that was available to standard, and there was a limited range of standard call signs, and then obviously advanced, but now it is also available to foundation licensees. And they are also removing the association between the call sign suffix and the qualification. So what that removes is the fact that standards have to be a particular call sign combination. Foundations need to be a particular call sign combination with an F at the front. So they have removed all of that. So if you have a foundation standard or advanced license, you can apply to the AMC for any available 3-letter call sign. So that's the big change. It goes on to say call signs and territory and state identifiers. Traditionally, call signs have indicated the state or territory you're in. Given we're in VK7, we're in Tasmania, we're VK7. So one of the key things that will continue is the fact that you still need to have a call sign suffix prefix, it's the prefix, call sign prefix that indicates the state or territory of your residence. So they haven't actually changed that particular requirement. The other thing that they talk about in their update, in the ACMA's update, is the rules for EME, for Earth, Moon, Earth, electromagnetic, Earth, Moon, Earth, it's not Earth, Moon, Earth, it's electromagnetic energy, which has relevance for EME. But they just reiterate the fact that radio communication devices and transmitters must function to keep EME or electromagnetic energy at safe levels. They do some explanation about EME and the measurement of it. They also have a link to their YouTube on the effects and all about EME, and the sets of rules around integral antennas have safe EME levels. These devices include mobile phones, Wi-Fi modems, routers, two-way radios, baby monitors, remote controls, and smart meters. So it talks about the rules and transmitters, etc. So it's really the big thing that they point to at the end of this particular article is there is a simple RF exclusion distance calculators for antennas. So there's a little calculator that you can put the type of antenna in, the distance, etc. And it calculates what the exclusion zone around that particular antenna is, and that's available online on the ACMA website. So that's the second thing they talk about. And the third thing is the changes to the amateur syllabus review panel arrangements. The process for updating the amateur radio syllabus has been revised. Now, originally, when the contract went to the AMC, as part of that, there was the creation of the syllabus review panel, and it comprised representatives of the ACMA, representatives of the amateur radio community, and the AMC, and they approved the changes to the amateur radio syllabus. Now, that they make the point here that, however, despite repeated attempts, the panel was unable to reach a consensus on a very minor changes required. This has led to the ACMA to the view that the panel was not able to develop and agree to more substantive changes to the amateur syllabus, and therefore is not fit for purpose to deliver for the broader amateur community. As a consequence, the panel will be disbanded, and the ACMA will amend the deed with the ACMA to remove the requirement for changes to the syllabus to be approved by the panel. Changes to the syllabus will now be managed directly through the ACMA's usual consultation process with the amateur community. So that is really unfortunate. And also it's unfortunate from the point of view of it causes a whole bucket load more work for the ACMA, which they will not be happy around. So the simplification process failed, and it is back to anybody and everybody contributing in the consultation process, of which the ACMA will have to administer. So that's really unfortunate. The last thing that they talk about in their ACMA update, this hasn't been updated, but it points to the amateur radio regulatory roles and responsibilities document that's available on the ACMA website. This has been pointed to on a range of website and Facebook posts. This is their new fact sheet around amateur radio. So it talks about all sorts of things. So worth a look if you haven't seen it. It's available via this update, but also on the ACMA website. So that's the ACMA update, which was hot off the press today. It came out at about 4:15 today. So some changes there. So anyway, that's now. Just want to do a promo for our very popular Working from the Shack series. When we were in lockdown, we had a series of interviews which are available on the YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel now has a much simpler to remember website address, which is youtube.com/Reist Hobart, all one word. So we have a new URL for the Reist channel, which hopefully we'll see people getting to it a little bit easier instead of hieroglyphs of the YouTube URLs. But we did interviews with notable VK7 amateurs from around the state, and the feedback we got was that people would like to see that continue. And so the first DATV night for the month, which is the second Wednesday night of the month, what we will be doing is doing a Working from the Shack interview with a notable VK7 amateur every second Wednesday night. And for the 12th of August, we have an interview with Cedric, VK7 Charlie Lima. Now, Cedric is known to lots of you. Those people who are on the Sewing Circle net will certainly know Cedric, and the Sewing Circle meet up at Ross each year. Cedric's a bit of a character and is coming along. He's actually will be in the studio with us, and will be our interviewee on the 12th of August. So it should be a fantastic night. The other thing I just wanted to flag is Peter Cousins, VK3BFG, contacted the DATV community in VK. He's wanting to organise another DATV QSO party, which he used to run each year a few years ago. He's kicking it off again the end of this August, the 28th and the 29th. So that'll be a Friday night and a Saturday. And the reason it cuts across those days is so that we can include the Americans in the DATV QSO party. So there's a range of Americans who are big on DATV. So we can include them on the. It'll be the Saturday morning, which will be their Friday, Friday night. So just wanted to flag the 28th and 29th of August. We've got that coming up, and should be a great night. And we're participating in that DATV QSO party. So yeah. So just a reminder, our club antenna and antenna analyzer forum next week. Is next week's broadcast, and we also we'll open it up for questions and comments on repeater 2 146 700, as well as DMR talk group 3807. I remembered to bring in the DMR hotspot and handheld tonight, so and also via the chat channel. And Ian, you're right. There's another change to the call sign, the amateur radio call sign policy. So thank you for that. Moving into state or changing locations. It's been a long-standing operational policy that amateurs moving into state must get a new call sign. However, it is no longer a requirement to get a new call sign when you move into state, although you can if you wish. So that thank you, Ian, for pointing that out. So that's also a change with the call sign policy. So those people that move don't actually have to get a new call sign if you have an old one, which does sort of fly in the face of the whole thing of the call sign and state territory identifiers. But anyway, that's a bit funny. But anyway, that's our night tonight. We've got I'll go to questions in a minute. The videos that we've got for tonight's RF viewers, we've got a couple from Peter Parker, VK3YE, who's just released a couple. The first one is 160, 80 and 40 metre activity in the 2020 Trans-Tasman, as heard on his BitX transceiver. And then also one about loading up a G5RV as a vertical on various frequencies. And then I thought I'd continue with the G5RV theme. How good is a G5RV and how do they work? Which is M0MCX from DX Commander. So I think that's probably going to take us through to the 10 o'clock cutoff. So anyway, I'll open it up. I'll go out on R2 to start with. So this is VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania, with our DATV Experimenters Night. Just putting the call out if there's anyone wanting to make a comment or a question from our DATV Experimenters Night tonight. Over. any questions or comments for our DATV experimenters night? This is VK7OTC listening. No? Let's go to DMR. This is VK7OTC in the DATV experimenters night studio. For anybody who would like to leave a comment or a question, please go ahead. On 3809. So that's just a reminder. That's available to anyone who has access to Talk Group 3807. Sorry, 3807. Talk Group 3807, which is the Tasmanian Talk Group. So nothing heard. And we don't have anything else. So what I might do, I'll call it quits at that, and remind people the Antenna Forum and Antenna Analyzer Forum next week. So that'll be broadcast and streamed as well. So that please come along, bring your experiences with your antennas and your antenna analyzers, and we'll get it all together and post it somewhere in the club, so that people can refer to it and talk to those people who have experience with the particular antenna that they're wanting to play with. So there you go. So 73, stay safe, and a big shout out to anyone who is watching from VK3. We are thinking about you, and it's great to see the numbers starting to go down in Victoria. So big shout out to our VK3 watchers, and stay safe. So 73, and we'll catch you next week at the Antenna Forum. Cheers.